Wildcat DeAndre Ayton or bust for the Phoenix Suns in the NBA draft? Will fans buy into an upstart pro football league with significantly less talented players? And why the state's unemployed will have to take the job and shut it? These stories and more next on the 520. Welcome to our 31st episode of the 520. I'm Steve Nunez.
I'm Arty IV. Thanks for joining us.
And we're going to be talking Arizona softball in just a couple of minutes. But first, hey, you have to give a shout out to the Cienega Bobcats.
The alum, back-to-back softball state champions. Congratulations to Eric Tatham.
And congratulations, Eric Tatham, and congratulations to
my mother, of course, who was on the staff.
All right. Well, are the Phoenix Suns really that dumb to pass up on former Wildcat DeAndre Ayton as their #1 pick in NBA lottery history? Ayton's ceiling is off the charts and through the roof. He can shoot, he can pass, he can rebound, block shots, run the floor, and he has hops like a trampoline. Check him out there. What do you think?
And I think that to be safe, Ayton he's a guy that you compliment everybody with. You compliment Alkins and you compliment Trier with him. So if the Suns were to take him, they have to believe 100% in their current roster that they're missing one piece. I say they could just get somebody off the free agency market, get a veteran, put some leadership in the nothing but youth team.
Unbelievable that you would say get some leadership. I think the Suns would be stupid to pass up on DeAndre Ayton. Are you kidding me? Build a trio, a nucleus of 3 very young players. The Suns right now need a big man. There's no better big man coming into the NBA draft than DeAndre Ayton. Of course, everyone's talking about Bagley, who's from Phoenix, but so is Ayton. He's from Phoenix, but his upside is off the charts. He has an inside-outside game, better to complement Booker and Josh Jackson. And I think you keep these young bloods together. Look, everyone's talking about the Suns winning next year. They're not going to win next year. They've sucked for how many years now?
Yeah.
Exactly. Build the team, give them something for the future, and no one better than having a big man, because in the NBA, you cannot teach size.
And you can't teach size in any sport for that matter, but I would say, if you were going to get a big man, if you were going to get a bulldog for the paint, to dish it back out to your shooting guards, I would say maybe get another shooting guard, a little bit more of a bulldog in a shooting guard, a little bit better of a power forward, because Booker, who has been exemplary up until this point since he got drafted in 15, I would say he's calmed down a bit, and that's just because of everybody else's play.
I agree with you, but here's what I hate about the Suns. They always get like a Tyson Chandler or someone who's already on the down
Shaquille
of the career.
O'Neal.
Correct. I don't trust them getting a veteran.
Oh my gosh. Did Arizona softball get snubbed by ESPN? The nation's mothership for sports did not televise a single game of the #14 Wildcats during the softball tournament regionals held here in Tucson. The Cats beat St. Francis, North Dakota State, and Mississippi State to advance to the Super Regionals against UCLA.
I don't know what ESPN has against Arizona, but let's just be honest. They hate Arizona for whatever reason. Arizona softball, 8 national titles, 22 Women's College World Series appearances, 32 straight NCAA tournament appearances under Coach Kendrea, who started it 32 years ago. How can you avoid televising Arizona knowing that they are primed to meet up with the #1 program in softball history, UCLA?
Of course, that one's going to be televised. You can't ignore the nostalgia between the Cats and the Bruins. I will say, though, from a logistics standpoint and working at places like the Rialto Theater and getting people from all over the country, it is an ordeal to get people to Tucson unless you're coming from El Paso down the I-10.
No, it's not. No,
it's a
they drive
terrible
the big
flight.
trucks and the big satellite
of
trucks.
Course.
They're not flying them in. They're driving them in,
and
they hire local talent to, local stringers to come in and run the cameras and all. It's not that hard. The logistics are very simple. Get it done, ESPN, and show some love to the West Coast.
And that might also be a point to say, too. North Dakota State, St. Francis, I would say the only marquee matchup that the Cats have played so far was against Mississippi State.
Look, Taylor McQuillan is going to lead Arizona over UCLA this weekend. By the way, Arizona lost all 3 regular season games to UCLA. Not this weekend.
And
I guarantee
and it's
you.
marquee. I say they can get it done too.
All right, I guarantee you. So why does the Alliance of American Football League, featuring players who didn't make the cut to play in the NFL, think it really has what it takes to survive? Well, the Alliance of American Football plans to debut February 9th, 2019, the week after Super Bowl 53. The season will feature 8 teams with 50-player rosters and will run 10 weeks. CBS will televise the games. Can this league really survive? I mean, look at all the other, 6, 8 leagues that try to play football just fold, including the XFL.
And of course, that's where the XFL and the USFL made complete mistakes, is that they tried to go up against the NFL or merge with the NFL the way Donald Trump wanted to.
And the XFL was nasty about it.
Of course they were. And the AAF has no intentions of doing such. They've denounced rumors that they are trying to do such, which is why they're airing outside of the football season. That's their selling point, is the developmental football league. And the entertainment value is there. Would you see a game coached by Michael Vick and Steve Spurrier coaching Johnny Manziel play against a team that's ran by Tim Tebow?
Who cares about Vick on the sideline? Who cares about Johnny Manziel? I want to see some good football. And if they can't produce good football like the USFL failed to do and the XFL, then what's it worth? It's not worth my time.
And of course, for fans like Steve and everybody agreeing with Steve at home.
Let me just tell you, for fans like you, here's why you like this idea and this concept. Because they're serving as a training ground for the NFL. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to take off, hitting, helmet to helmet hitting that you're so in love with now. You want to make the game a little bit softer now.
And that's
all I can tell you is
by Steve.
this is what the AAF is going to do. They're going to get rid of the kickoff. They're going to get rid of the onside kick and the extra point. Why? Because they're going to soften the game up.
And that's the thing about it.
That's what the
Let me
NFL
say
wants.
Real quick, because he always gets the last word. It's not for fans like you. You're not watching preseason games on the internet, on the NFL website. You're not trying to catch Conference USA matchups between Kentucky and USF. That's who it's for. Developmental
but I'll
people
disagree
who
with you.
enjoy
It is
the
for
sport.
fans like me who like to bet and gamble, because that's what this AAF
And
is going to do.
that's what they'll turn it
It's going to
into.
bet. I bet you right now.
Of course.
Ah, see, I won.
And back to betting. Will Justify win the Triple Crown at the Belmont Stakes? After winning the Preakness, the closest race of his life, Justify has a chance to become the 13th Triple Crown winner in horse racing history. If he wins the Belmont on June 9th, UA alum and trainer Bob Baffert could also win his 2nd Triple Crown in 4 years.
I'll say it as I've said before. Bob Baffert is the greatest trainer ever.
The GOAT.
Justify was amazing in the Preakness. It was just so climatic that he raced out of the fog and finished like he did. But I'll say this. Bob Baffert has never lost a Preakness when he's won the Kentucky Derby. But 32 horses that have won the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness have lost the Belmont. Why? Because it's a 1.5-mile race. And when you look at Justify, in that second, after 2 weeks recovery in the Preakness, Good Magic gave him a run for his money. Had that race gone on another 3/4 of a mile, which would have been the equivalent to the Belmont, I think Good Magic would have beat Justify. So I'm not too confident right now, but I think Justify wins the Triple Crown.
And Justify has to make sure, his jockey has to make sure, as long as his start is solid, there's no such thing as catching up. The stamina won't be a matter as long as you get a good starter.
Well, hold off, hold your horses. Whoa,
No
Nally.
pun intended.
Let me tell you this, though. I think he has to hold Justify back and then let him run down the last 200 yards. Because if Justify maintains the lead the entire time, he's not going to win it. But let's go ahead and take a look at these picks from last week, because, oh yeah, baby, I won with Justify. I had Good Magic and Bravazzo. The only difference is Bravazzo came in second and Good Magic came in fourth.
Gee, you're feeling pretty lucky. You should have placed a bet down at the
I
start.
did, and I did win some money. Take a look at yours,
well,
though.
never met.
You lost.
Let's
There's
take a look
there's
at
a
mine.
losing ticket right here. Well, you did win with Justify.
Well, of course. I think we all won the Justify. Diamond King, Lone Sailor, guys. I mean, you let a lot of us down. let a lot of us down.
All right. Well, we are introducing a new segment called Rapid Fire. It's all local and state sports related topics. I fire off the topic, Arty gives a rapid response, or if he's stumped, he can pass. So Arizona will host Super Bowl 57. Could the Cardinals have a shot at playing at home in 2023?
And I think they won't. There's no way they're going to be. They're going to stay competitive in the NFC West. The only team headed down is Seattle, and they still got a pretty good look at it.
I think you're wrong. Josh Rosen, even though I'm not a big fan of his, he's going to take Arizona Cardinals to the Super Bowl within the next 5 years. Well, did Arizona basketball coach Sean Miller make a mistake by hiring Santa Clara assistant Justin Gainey instead of a former Wildcat?
And to us, it's a mistake only because we've claimed that he just has no love for the city of Tucson and the University of Arizona. So, of course, to him, he sees something that we don't. I don't necessarily think it's a mistake. I just think it's lost love.
And no respect for the history of the Arizona program, my opinion. Well, will former Wildcats Raleigh Alkins and Alonzo Trier have their names called on NBA draft day?
And just like the NFL draft, the talent gap was really slim. Their stars going in the 5th and 6th round. I think the NBA draft's going to look the same way. I just can't tell you where, because those two positions that the guys play, everybody needs those positions right now.
Alkins gets drafted, Trier does not. Guaranteed. Jeez. Mark my word. Arizona National Golf Course could close for the summer should residents in the HOA pay a monthly fee to keep it open.
I disagree completely. That's a bunch of baloney. I think they need to establish a membership system so that the membership fees can go towards that HOA fee instead.
I think what they need to do is just lower the prices. Then you're going to drive people back and have some monsoon specials so that golfers will want to go out and suffer throughout in the heat. Bottom line. And pour more beer.
Of course.
Let's face it. During the summer, you need to drink more, right? Well, is it a surprise former Wildcat and Super Bowl champion MVP Nick Foles turned down the starting QB job for the Browns to remain a backup in Philly?
It's been clear that the Eagles will not sell anything less than the farm for Nick Foles. They better be getting 5 first-round picks and Deshaun Jackson back or something ridiculous like that. So, of course, I'm not surprised Cleveland didn't nail that one.
I'm not surprised either because guess why? The Browns won, what, 1 game last year? Who wants to go to the Browns? Who wants to play there?
They're looking good. They're looking real good
Nick
this year.
Foles should be in Arizona. I've argued that. He should be in Arizona.
And
last but not least, the Wildcats women's golf team plays Alabama for the national title. Former athletic director Greg Burns hired coach Laura Iannello. Sweet revenge if the Wildcats win.
I do think that hire was out of spot. I don't think the win will be in revenge, although I do think the Cats can take the title in this one.
I think it's sweet revenge. I hope Arizona sticks it to Greg Byrne the way he stuck it to us when he left town, leaving the Arizona athletic program in shambles.
In shambles.
All right, let's jump right into Do We Care? As you know, we love to tackle community issues and not just sports, break them down and ask ourselves, do we care? Well, Arizonans who are unemployed and don't take a job, I'm talking any job, after being out of work for at least 4 weeks, will lose their unemployment benefits. Do we care?
I do care about this one. I've been a big fan of the unemployment system since it, not going to act like I was here since it came up, but since I've known what it was, and I think this does a good job monitoring it to take it for people that take advantage of the system.
I think it's a shame that they are going to cut benefits to honest people such as myself, because I've had to rely on unemployment benefits in between jobs. Now, going to the unemployment office and looking for jobs and seeing jobs that are just have nothing to do with my career and working in a fast food restaurant, there's nothing wrong with that. But what did I earn my degree for? Should I have to go and just get a job for it? I think it's bull.
It's going to be counterproductive that way.
Let one of the politicians lose their job and see how long they'll go out there and try and find a job that's below them in their career and how fast they'll change this stupid law.
Of course. The state's top school chief, Diane Douglas, is proposing a curriculum to eliminate the word evolution from science class and replace it with biological diversity. Do we care?
Biological diversity is another way of saying, bring in religion. We're going to teach you how we think God should teach you about evolution. And that's just another way of infringing on church versus state.
And making them do a prayer with the pledge.
Exactly.
Of course.
That's exactly what this is about.
Yeah, and to me, the required credit of biology, the entire principle of evolution is completely necessary to teach the entire class. So you're discrediting the entire required credit of biology if you're going to teach it as biological diversity.
All right. Oscar-winning actress Diane Keaton purchased an 1880s adobe home in the heart of downtown Tucson for $1.5 million, an eye-popping price to pay for a home in Barrio Viejo. Do we care?
I tell you, I care about this one. She's a decent philanthropist. Of course, she's not Bruce Wayne, but I tell you what, it's going to be the steam to the engine for that neighborhood.
Talk about gentrification. This is the epitome of it. Ironically, 50 years ago, you had the city of Tucson knock down hundreds of barrio homes to make way for the Tucson Convention Center. They literally paid families, mostly Latino families, hundreds of dollars for their homes, maybe $1,000, maybe $2,000. Wiped them clean. And now you see Diane Keaton coming from Los Angeles to buy a home in Tucson, an adobe home in Tucson for $1.5 million. I like it on one hand because it is the market. The market is free to do what you please to do if you want to buy a home for that much. But the problem I have with it is that it raises the valuation of the homes in that area. And for all the local native residents who have lived in Barrio Viejo, what does that mean for them? Higher property taxes.
Of course. And of course, it's going to be counterproductive either way, but I like the move. I like the move.
I thought you liked history, man.
I do like history, and I think that Diane Keaton's surplus of income...
She's not going to stay here.
Will at least.
She's not going to
Will
live
at
here
least.
for long.
At least.
She's just going to shop at the Mercado San Agustin, sign some autographs,
Cantata.
and leave. Yeah. All right? Well, you've heard the phrase, oh, no, you didn't. Well, here at the 520, we're not afraid to tell it like it is with, oh, yes, we did. How pathetic is it the city of Tucson and Tucson police won't call it a crisis? I will. TPD staffing shortage has reached an all-time crisis that should have everyone up in arms protesting. As we've told you on the 520 before, the city is down around 400 officers. The number rises if you ask the Tucson Police Union. Well, meantime, the city can't hire or recruit officers fast enough to keep up with attrition to fill the 8+ veteran officers who are leaving the department every month for higher paying jobs. So if the police shortage is not a crisis, why did 911 emergency wait times average about 15 minutes last month? And why has there been 7, count them, 7 officer-involved shootings so far in the first 5 months of this year? There were 2 all of last year. Per capita, in my opinion, Tucson is one of the most dangerous cities in the country. I hear it on scanners every night. Criminals and thugs know the police aren't going to show up as fast as they used to. Circle K's are getting popped with beer and cigarette runners almost nightly. Out of sight, out of mind. There's absolutely no longer fear for the long arm of the law. The last 2 weeks, 2 officers have been shot at. Luckily, the drug felon missed, but he led police on an all-night and all-day long chase. In a second shooting, a domestic violence suspect actually shot an officer. Luckily, the officer's belt stopped the bullet from injuring him. The crime is totally out of control, and turning a blind eye is the real definition of a true cop-out, and no pun intended.
Thank you, Steve. And it seems the more we talk about this, the less we have to say. The NFL owners and CEOs have made a change to their rulebook. Anyone who protests the national anthem in the 2018 season will receive a fine from the league, which seems to be completely contradictory from the statements made by Goodell and nearly every team amidst last year. And this meeting did not meet with the NFL Players Union, while the owners and CEOs found a loophole that did not violate their collective bargaining agreement. In the past few months, with Red for Ed, the March for Our Lives, and the NFL silent protests, it's made very clear that the average American citizen is completely powerless in the eyes of the beholder. Whatever personal agenda the elites have is more important than the well-being of children getting their hands on guns at will, educators being forced to work 2 jobs while they have families, and minorities being abused in their own communities. By police, of course. We're not screaming, woe is me, because this is real life. People are dying, people are being neglected, and by the looks of it, there's just nothing we can do because it seems to be working for you guys.
If you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. I really think what this is going to do is it's going to go up the courts all the way to the Supreme Court.
And it's going to take something like the Supreme Court for somebody to make an unbiased decision.
And I think more importantly, what we're going to see though is, again, more controversy to start this NFL football season that is unnecessary. This should be, get rid of this. Let's end this now.
Of course. I agree with you, but of course there's personal agendas that have to be met, and people are really, really firing anything they can to make sure it gets met.
I agree. Well, before we go, take a look at this video right here. These motorcycle and quad riders out for a joyride, bogarting a busy street, proves my point about the growing disrespect for police and the rule of law. These cats ignored the sirens and the po-po following them and flat out dodged them down dirt roads to get away. Unbelievable.
There is a crisis. We'll call it a crisis. Of course, the city's not calling it a crisis, but we'll stamp it as such.
But there's no respect for the law. In my opinion, it's because there's not enough of a police presence out there.
Of course.
Therefore, they know they can get away with it, because if you're only being chased by 2 police officers or 2 cop cars, that's not enough. Especially these guys who got away from them and then went back out on the streets and mocked police again and did the exact same thing and were chased again and got away. Unfrickin' believable. All right, well, that does it for our 31st episode of the 520. Our goal is to tell it like it is, because it's all about giving voice to opinions, even if you don't agree.
Be sure to follow the 520 on Facebook and Twitter at the 520 Tucson.
And if you have a topic you want us to cover, send us an email at the520@KVOA.com. I'm Steve Nunez.
And I'm Arty IV. Join us next week on the 520.
Go Cats.